Hi and welcome once again. Thank you for joining us here with In the Kitchen with
Christian
and Nancy. And for today's recipe, well, we hope that you enjoy it. It's gonna actually be 3 made from scratch recipes, okay? Combining into one showcase recipe, which is going to be our best easy pumpkin pie recipe.
That sounds delicious.
What do you think about that? Yes. So we decided to make everything from scratch just to give you a different perspective. We know that right now everybody is trying to plan ahead for their holiday, for Thanksgiving coming up. We chose pumpkin pie because it is a tradition. It's very common to use with these upcoming holidays, with Thanksgiving, with Christmas. So we wanted to go ahead and show you how to make it with a little bit of healthier alternatives, right? For you and your family. So we hope that you like it.
Yeah,
so
course.
For today, we're gonna have the recipe for the pumpkin pie, right? For the filling. We're gonna have the made from scratch recipe for our pie crust, which is a walnut oat pie crust. Okay, it has no flour, no added sugar. It only has like light brown sugar, which is a little bit healthier. And for those of you that are gluten sensitive, or if your children have any sensitivity to gluten, as I do, you can feel safe that your kids can eat this at home. Okay. And for the whipped topping, it's a healthy whipped topping, and that one also consists only of 3 ingredients. With
healthy and high protein.
Yes, it has Greek yogurt. It has a little bit of heavy whipping cream, which is normal for whipped topping, right? And it has a liquid stevia for a sweetener. Okay, so a little bit of healthy. We're indulging a little bit on the pumpkin pie, but remember, a healthy lifestyle is always about balance, right? So that's what we hope to provide to you today, and we hope that we motivate you to try it soon. Okay.
Awesome.
So we're gonna start first with our walnut oat pie crust. Okay.
Okay.
So here we have all the ingredients. So the ingredients calls for 1 1/3 cup of old-fashioned oats. Okay. Nothing instant. That's our oven. Yes, we've already preset the oven at 425, so that's letting us know that it's ready to go. Okay, so here we have the oats. It's 1 1/3 cup of oats. We went ahead and toasted them, which I'm going to go over in a minute. We have our walnuts here. It calls for 1 cup of toasted walnuts. Now, don't stress whatever nuts you have at home. I've used almonds, I've used pecans, so whatever you have at home, but the recipe calls for walnuts, okay? And feel free to toast them if you like. Just be careful. In my experience, I've done it without toasting them, which it tastes just as delicious. If you do toast them, it's just a couple of more steps as the recipe indicates. For the oats, you're gonna lay them on a shallow baking pan, and you're going to place them in your oven at 350 degrees, and you're gonna toast them for 15 to 18 minutes. I always use the lesser amount of time, only because they, with oats, you have to be really careful because they go from not being burnt to burning really quickly. So when I do decide to toast them, I'm there by the oven. I check it every 2-3 minutes to make sure that they don't brown too much. Okay? The same goes for the walnuts. If you're going to toast them, you toast them in the same temperature, 350 degrees, and for 8 minutes.
Can we cook them together, or it has to be separate?
I've done them together in the same shallow pan.
Okay.
If you're doing several pies, then you have to separate them. But if you're doing just one pie, yeah, you can throw them in there together, which I've done. Again, the same as the oats. Be very careful when you're toasting any nut because of the high oil, the high fat consistency. They tend to burn really quickly. So please be careful also.
And then it turns bitter.
Yes, of course. And the only benefit to toasting these 2 items is that it gives you more flavor. You taste the nutty. It just enhances the flavor a little bit more. But like I said, if you don't toast them, that's fine as well. Okay. Our next ingredient is salt. It calls for 1/4 teaspoon of salt, as you see here, and it does call for light or dark brown sugar. I chose the light brown sugar only because it's lighter, and it calls for 1/3 cup. Here we have 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Okay. You can use plant-based. I use plant-based at home. We're using just a regular butter here, but it's unsalted. And make sure that it is unsalted. Why? Because we have salt here. You don't want your crust to be too salty. Okay. So
and definitely remember, we are trying to do this recipe as healthier as we can, but remember, it still has some sugar on the recipe. But if your diet doesn't allow to have sugar, you can use any sweetener instead.
Like erythritol or monk fruit, which I've used in the past as well. But trust me, it's not a lot of sugar with the brown sugar. It's still a little bit healthier.
Compared with other desserts, this is not.
Yes. Okay, so we're ready to place all of these into a food processor, as you see here.
Okay.
Now, don't stress if you don't have a food processor at home. If you have a blender, that'll work just fine. You can use the pulse. In the beginning, just use the crush button,
Okay.
because you want to crush your walnuts or your nuts and your oats together.
Okay.
So if you just want to help me, we're going to move on to placing everything in our food processor here, and we're going to make our great pie crust, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, so you
Okay.
want to hand me over the oats first?
Yes, ma'am. There we go.
Yes, ma'am, so proper. So it's 1 1/3 cup of your toasted oats. You want to
You're gonna put.
Oh, sorry. Distracted me for a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
And now I'm grabbing the walnuts.
Now you want it.
Toasted walnuts.
Do you want me to help you or not?
1 cup. I don't know. Girls can change their mind. And 1/3 cup of your light brown sugar. It's really packed. I may break it up a little bit. It smells good already. And we have
the
a
salt?
4th teaspoon of salt.
Mm-hmm. And the
Alright.
unsalted butter.
And last but not least, let's kind of just mix this a little bit.
All right.
Keep this
So
here.
all the ingredients are gonna go together then.
Yes, as you see here, into our food processor, as you
Mhm.
see here. Let me just, this thing doesn't give me a hard time. And we're ready to go. So now we're gonna pulsate, or we're gonna process this. I'm gonna start it on the highest. This has 5 levels here. I'm gonna do the highest. If you're using a blender, of course, you're gonna do the crush button first, because you wanna crush your your walnuts with your oats.
Okay.
So I'm gonna set it at the highest level here.
Mhm.
And then it should take only maybe about, not even a minute. So let's go.
It's going really fast.
Maybe less than a minute.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's coming together here. All you want to do is you want to get it to a doughy consistency,
Consistency.
right?
Yeah.
You see a little bit of the oats, that's okay.
And also depending on the equipment that you're using, definitely if you're using a blender machine, just put it on the settings that you have. Play with the buttons if you want to go lower or higher. It depends the time that you're gonna spend on that.
Oh wow.
But now
You
that
see
we
the
have this consistency, look at that.
I'm gonna try. Oh, and it smells really good.
Mhm.
Let me bring. This is our pie pan. It does recommend a 9-inch pie pan with at least 1 1/4 inch of height, which we have here.
Okay.
So let me remove this. Be real careful with the blades, whatever you're using.
Especially if you have kids in the kitchen.
Yes. You don't want them to help with that step, of course. Absolutely not. So, mira, Cristian, you want to show them? See the consistency?
Yeah. Look at
Right?
this.
I know. It looks really, really pretty.
Can I
Okay.
try it?
No.
Like the kids.
And of course, your kids can help you with this step as well. They like to go in there and help with their little hands. You know, feel free to let them help you with this step. It's okay, as long as the blades are not in here. So, okay, that's ready.
Okay.
All right. So now, well, what I do here sometimes it's just a little trick. I don't know if you all do it. So we just want to kind of press all of this into the base of the pie pan,
Okay.
just like that. And what I do sometimes, it helps either use a flat surface, and I just kind of press. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, this is homemade. I like the way, you know, desserts look when they're homemade. They don't look super perfect, and that's the point, right? As long as they taste delicious, that's the point. So basically, you're just gonna go around with it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to help me with the edges a little bit, since you have the gloves. I
Yeah,
don't
of
want
course.
to put on my. There you go.
So remember, your kids can help with this step. Just make sure they wash their hands. And this is a step that is very fun for them.
Right. It looks like they're
This
playing
is
with
the
like
opportunity
Play-Doh.
for you to build memories with them and teach them how to cook and be independent.
Now remember here for demo purposes, we're showing you 3 different recipes, but all these recipes can be made ahead. For example, I have this same dough in my refrigerator right now because I've made it ahead of time, and I just stick it in a I ball it up and I place it in a Ziploc bag in my refrigerator and I use it for later. So feel free whenever you're craving a pie or whatever you want to do, you can take it out of your refrigerator, place it in your pie pan, and you're free to go.
Okay.
Now, it does also call the next step is to bake this in the oven. I opt to hardly ever baking it, doing that last step because from my experience, one time it burnt too much and I didn't like that. It didn't, it kind of burnt too long because once we add the pie filling, it's going to go back in the oven. It's going to be baking for, I think, a total of 45 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. So that's quite a long time for the oats and for the walnuts here. Remember, it has a high fat consistency with the oils from the nuts, so you don't want to overburn it. So that looks perfect.
Yeah.
So I think we're just going to leave it like this. We're not going to bake this right now, but you can. If you want to go ahead and follow that step, you can. And it does require to bake it for another 14 minutes at 350 degrees. You're more than welcome to do so. Not, we're not doing it today. So, so this is already ready for our filling. So we're gonna set this aside, okay?
So we're gonna put it on the side, and now we're gonna start with the filling recipe. Okay, so for this we're gonna need a bowl, so we can mix all the ingredients, and we're gonna need 15 ounces of pumpkin puree. Make sure it's 100% puree pumpkin.
Yes,
right, because we are trying to do it as natural as we can, as healthier as we can. So also, if you want to check on the ingredients, the only ingredients that this product needs to have is pumpkin. All right, if it has more than those ingredients, that means that it's not that healthy.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna need also condensed milk. For this one, what we want to look at is that it's fat-free. Why? Because remember, we are trying to reduce the calorie intake. It still has sugar, so be careful if you're diabetic or if you have kids diabetic at home. Okay, now we have 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. Now, if you don't find it in the store, don't stress. You can do it with the ingredients that you have at home already. You just need cinnamon, ginger,
nutmeg, and cloves.
And cloves, yeah.
Ground cloves, everything ground. So you probably have those spices already in your pantry. So don't stress. You can just mix all those together and you have your pumpkin pie spice.
Yes.
And we're gonna start.
2 eggs and a pinch of salt. All right. So we're gonna start with the eggs right here. Why? Because we're gonna lightly beaten them. And once we have them like that, let's do the pumpkin puree. Okay.
Now, if you're wondering, we're not slaving Christian here with a manual whisk. I get the appliance and he gets the manual. He gets the hard work. No, the recipe calls for the whisk. I mean, these are ingredients that are fairly soft, so it really doesn't require a manual blender or any appliance, but feel free to use it as well if you want. If you want to just stick everything in a blender, feel free to do it.
Yeah, of course.
But for today, we're making Christian work a little bit today.
And also for the kids, I mean, these are steps where they can help you.
You left a lot, Christian.
And they can continue learning. Okay, so right now we are going just to mix everything together. Let's put the condensed milk now.
Okay. And that's 14 ounces. It was 15 ounces of the puree and 14 ounces of the condensed milk.
Yeah.
Now remember, we're not adding, yes, condensed milk does have a higher concentration of sugar, but remember, we're not adding any additional sugar. We're getting all the sweetness from this condensed milk here, okay? And it's fairly thick too, huh?
Yeah. You can use any brands that you find in the store. Just remember, fat-free.
Or low fat, right?
Yeah.
When are you want to go in with the spice?
Yes.
And
as
the
you can
spice?
see, everything is getting mixed together already.
Really good.
And now we're gonna put the pumpkin pie spice.
It smells delicious already.
Yeah. You just mix it. And the salt. The salt is gonna help just to increase the flavor in any recipe.
And balance the sweetness out. So you don't want it too sweet either. The salt kind of like balances that out as well. Awesome.
Yeah. And once you see that everything is together, we're gonna put this in our crust that we have previously prepared.
Awesome.
And just like that.
Do you need help with that? I think
Sure.
you got it. Oh, let me help you with this. Oh, I don't want to use this one.
As you can see, is exactly the amount that we need.
And it smells delicious already. All right. It gets a little messy.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Okay, and like this, we're gonna put it right now in our oven.
Do you want to shake it? Do you want to show them a trick a little bit?
Yeah, sometimes we just tap it a little bit just to make sure that it goes
There's no
flat,
air bubbles.
totally flat.
Yeah.
And
with that.
we take it to the oven.
This is already set at 425. Be careful with there. It does say on the lower rack. So we're gonna bake this at 15 minutes at 425, and then we're gonna decrease the temperature to 350. 350.
But same thing. Make sure you are keeping an eye on it. It's also depending on the oven that you have.
And we have one pre-made.
Just right now, just because of time purpose, we have this ready, the final product. Look at this, how it looks.
Really
if you
shiny.
see, it's very shiny.
Really
if you see that it's cut it already, it's because right now I'm gonna show you the size of the portion. Okay, and now what, the one more step.
Yes, now we're gonna move on to our healthy whipping cream. So all items for the whipping cream recipe must be very, very cold. So I'm gonna kind of step out here a little bit to get my cold items, and I'll be right back, and we'll start that right now.
Yeah, of course. So right now I'm gonna show you the size of the portion of this pie. And for every portion, we're gonna have 256 calories and 10 grams of protein, which is very, very good for a dessert. Also, we're gonna have 4 grams of fiber. Why? Because we are using the oatmeal, the walnuts, and the 100% pumpkin puree. Okay, so as you can see, Nancy already brought right here heavy cream. We're gonna need 3 teaspoons of heavy cream. We're gonna need 6 teaspoons of Greek yogurt, which is the secret ingredient here to increase the protein in our recipe. And also we're gonna need some stevia, liquid stevia. But also you can use any sweetener that you like or that you have at home.
Now, as I mentioned, for this healthy whip topping, everything must be really, really cold. So as you see here, we have our container here. You can use any container you like, a small, it's not a big portion. I think it yields like 3/4 of a cup of whipping cream. You can double it or triple it depending on what you're gonna do with it. But for today's demo, we're only doing the what it yields for one serving. Okay.
Okay.
So here I have, like Christian mentioned, our heavy whipping cream, very cold, our Greek yogurt, and our liquid stevia. You can use another sweetener if you like. You can use the granulated erythritol. You can use the monk fruit as well, because I've used those as well. But we're going to follow the recipe as is, and so we're using the liquid sweetener. Okay. Here we have an attachment on our blender here. So we're gonna attach the whisk, which is very cold as well, and of course our container that we're using. So here we're gonna start with the 3 tablespoons of very cold whipping cream, and we're going to beat maybe like semi-medium firm peaks. Okay, so we're gonna do that first. Thank you.
For about 2 to 3 minutes. As I mentioned before, just depending on the equipment that you're using. If you're doing it manual, maybe it can take longer, of course. But also, it's fun. It's time that you can spend with your family.
And I've already gone to the next level, just to kind of, and I'll show you in a minute what a medium peak looks like on the appliance, okay?
It's getting it.
And I think it's thickening already.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop there. It's already kind of attaching to your appliance, so that's where you want to be, okay? So now we're gonna continue to add the rest of the ingredients. Now we're gonna go in with the Greek yogurt. Again, the 6 tablespoons of very cold Greek yogurt.
And it's plain Greek yogurt, but also feel free to use maybe vanilla, just to give it a little bit more vanilla flavor to your whipped cream. Or you can use vanilla extract.
And our liquid stevia, 1/4 teaspoon, right? Feel free to add more, but we didn't find the need to add any more, right? It's sweet enough. Remember, the pie is gonna be sweet. Our crust is gonna have some sweetness as well. So remember, we've gotta balance it out. You don't want something that's too overly sweet, okay? So for this step, I'm going to go with the highest level first, because now we're gonna reach the high peaks, or stiff.
And right now what Nancy is doing right now is just mixing everything together. And in the meantime, I'm gonna start plating our pie. So look at this. I know it looks small, but remember we need to be conscious about our portions, right? So the size, the trick to measure a pie is gonna be with these 2 fingers.
Wow.
So as you can see right here, I don't know if you can focus it, Javi. As you can see, that's the size of the portion of a pie. All right.
That's your portion.
That's my portion, depending on your hands too, right?
That's your portion. So,
Okay.
so real quick, I want to show you all. So these are stiff peaks. See how it's, you know, pretty stable there. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Only when you eat it. So this one's done, and I think we have some that's already made, which
Yeah,
Kristen
I
has
already
already
put it here.
Oh wow. Okay, you wanted me to risk it?
And I am ready.
I'm gonna
with my
risk the
spoon.
test. See, that is
Yeah,
stable.
you see?
I was like, so there you go. So that's done. So now what comes next? The tasting?
The tasting, the
Enough
most important
talking?
part in our videos.
I wasn't giving. Oh.
I put it there.
Surprise.
Okay, you ready?
Okay, wait, but we gotta add the whipped
Yeah,
cream.
I'm gonna add whipped cream here.
You do your own, and I'll do mine.
Okay, ladies first. Go
Of
ahead.
course. All right. Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
I
Where to get
want-
more of the crust?
I want crust.
See how he is? Okay, here we
Okay,
go.
1, 2, 3.
It's really good, really smooth. It's not really overly sweet. You taste the nuttiness of the crust.
I love
Right?
it. I love it.
It's really, really good with a nice hot chocolate or hot coffee
Yeah,
or
for
hot
these
tea.
holidays, it's gonna be perfect for you. It's healthier. Just try it. Just try it. Let us know how you went. You can put your comments in under the details of this video. Just make sure you subscribe, give us a like, subscribe to all the notifications, so you can get you get a notification every time that we perform a new food demo.
And for those of you who are needing to get your WIC benefits, don't forget to complete the survey at the end of the video so that way you can get your benefits on time. So once again, thank you so much for being here. We hope that you liked it. We hope that we entertained you for a little bit. And we hope that you try it really soon. Again, the holidays are coming, so it's a time of being thankful for being blessed with family, with friends,
Of course.
with your health. So of course, we're still staying healthy with this recipe. So we hope that you enjoy it really soon at home. You all have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a blessed rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.